Hello there, it's Claire Winter here. I help coaches and creative entrepreneurs amplify their reach through content marketing, storytelling, and PR. And today I'm talking about using storytelling to engage your audience. So when you're a great content marketer, it's not just about sharing value, it's also telling stories to engage and ignite conversation with your audience, get people commenting, reacting, sharing, and often telling a personal story or the story between a story about the origins of your business will engage audience in a different way over facts and data. We've been telling stories around campfires for thousands of years, and now we can do it on social media. So I'm a massive fan of storytelling. I've been a journalist for 20 years. It's how I've built my own businesses, helping other people create content through storytelling, and also publishing a magazine, sharing people's stories and getting people to share their stories. So I've got someone on LinkedIn saying the power of story is key. Absolutely. Hi, Jules. Yeah, so I am a massive fan of that. So one of the great sort of journalist tips or tricks that we were often told about in a newsroom or when we were training to be journalists is to, and these are good to note down, you've probably maybe done it in an English class too, but when you're telling your story, think who, what, when, where, and why. So they're really good things to think about because, you know, essentially, and I was talking about this on another live, the press and people that are reading your content, they don't so much care about your business and the products and services you've got to tell. They care about the problem. Well, your customers will care about the problem they've got. So you should be answering their pain points. And if you're pitching out to the press and you want a wider reach, it's about the story. So the journalists aren't interested in your business. They're interested in the story that you're telling. So if you're thinking about who, what, when, where, and why, you are covering all those bases when you're starting to tell that story. The other thing is to think about the structure of your story. Stories have a protagonist, that's the lead character. Often there's a conflict and then there's a resolution. So that's a quite nice, and often people talk about this as a story arc. And we've got Sarah saying she's been looking into stories a lot recently. Great, Sarah. Great for your clients. I know that you work in marketing to help them share the story of how they help people and the origins of their business. It's also a really good opportunity to share your why, the reason behind your business. Often people have a really impactful story around that. It might be a Damascus moment. They're working in corporate, earning loads of money, working really long hours. You know, lawyers tell, you know, big stories of being billed by the minute, never having a free moment. And then they might have changed their lives and trained to be a performance coach. And then they help other lawyers either enjoy the job that they've got or transition out of their job. So that's a great story to tell, isn't it? You can talk about the long hours behind your desk, the stress of billing for every minute of your time, and you can really evoke a really strong story around that. So I think that's something that it is a really easy and powerful story to tell, the why behind your business, or you know, that flipping point, that touch point when you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm going to do something different. We've got Stacia. Stories create the context, allows you to align and empathize with others. Absolutely. Loving all the comments here. Thanks, guys. So yeah, story ignite people, it excites people, gets them involved, gets them to understand. So if you start using descriptive language, getting them to understand how you felt at that moment, and come up with that kind of conflict of, I could have done this or I could have done that, and share the resolution. That's another way of doing it as well. So I think for me, stories are what make us human. They are how we connect and talk to people and share our values, our ideals, and the reason why we do something. So if you can start weaving stories into the content that you create, whether that's in your blogs or in a long post on Instagram, it could be in your Facebook lives, I often talk about being an editor of a magazine, and I got to do loads of fun things, lots of boring things as well, because I was running the whole thing. But, you know, I got to interview Olympians and things like that. And one of my favourite stories is I got to interview Basil Brush. He stayed in character the whole time. I tell that story. I've told that story on my podcast. It's very funny. And, you know, anyone who was a child of the 80s will know what I'm talking about. So that's really why I think stories are important. So in a story, when you're storytelling, make sure you're personal, you're being yourself. You can share your failures and your successes. I think a lot of entrepreneurs in this space who have impact often talk about things that went wrong and how, you know, learning how to fail well. I think that's really, really useful kind of story to tell. And again, be visual in the descriptions, you know, really engage people with the words that you use. And again, going back to being with the journalist hat on, make sure you've got a really good headline, something that, you know, is disruptive, something that will disrupt the scroll, that will stop people to read your social post or your blog post or watch your Facebook Live. Obviously, lots of people are watching this live because they're interested in storytelling. Either they work in that profession or they want to use it in their content marketing. And again, it's about the headline that I use, how to use storytelling to engage your audience. That's going to attract the kind of people who are interested in content marketing in my free group, Cracking Content, for example. And again, using video, I think, is really a powerful way of sharing your story. Again, and if you're into audio, of course, the fabulous Clubhouse, which has got people completely addicted. It's a great place to have tell really intimate stories and have conversations, which is really nice. Rather than just reading comments, you can actually have conversations with people. It's been really rewarding and nice in Clubhouse, where people are like, oh, I've been following you for ages. I've downloaded all your freebies and I've been watching your lives. And now I get to have a conversation with you. It's really, really nice to talk to people that you might not have been able to have a conversation with before. So it's quite an intimate form of storytelling, I think, on Clubhouse. Louise says, when pitching to the press, I definitely ask another question. So what? Yeah, I've got it in there, Louise. I said, who, what? Yeah, the so what test. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I have got who, what, where, when, why. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. That's a great pitch. That's a great one, Louise. And I often share this with people when I'm on, who do my pitch to the press course. The so what test. Why is this relevant? Have you got a new angle? Have you got someone famous involved? Have you got new data or stats? Have you got a new angle on that story? Have you got something new to bring to the table? I think that can all go under, as Louise says, who's the editor of Homeworker magazine, under the so what sample. So yes, storytelling is a brilliant, brilliant way of engaging people. So if you're not doing it yet, I would highly recommend it. One of the ways you can do that is through blogging. And I've actually got a blogging workshop happening tomorrow between 11 and 1 p.m. So if anyone's interested, just put blog in the comments and I will send you the details of that workshop. And we've got Sarah. She's just asked, how am I streaming to more than one place? So Sarah, I'm streaming on my Facebook business page, my free group Cracking Content, and LinkedIn. And this will go up on IGTV later as well. It's through software called StreamYard. It's brilliant. I'd highly recommend it. So I'm going to sign off now. Have a fabulous week and I'll be back next Monday.